What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 28 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Karl Franz Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, well, I guess there wasn't one thing of significance, just a big end turn with just a ton, and I mean a ton, of battles. Possibly the most battle-heavy episode that we've had so far, and hardly surprising considering how far we've pushed outward from the borders of the Empire. And I don't like the fact that this little army's running around here. Blood Knights, Grail Knights, damn you, Scourge of Aquitaine, and I'm probably gonna have to make one to send their way, and I guess more likely than not it'll have to be the, Moor army. I was going to send it this way, but I guess we'll deal with those guys first and then see where we can send it afterwards. Oh, speaking of the Moor army, probably would like a couple more Knights of Moor in there, and okay, well, they're not ready yet, but they will be. And the guns and stuff also makes sense with them. Although at the same time, we could also put heroes in there. Anyway, I'll think about it. Let's start from the top since it's a brand new turn, effectively. So, Nud, you're gonna go here. And we can hopefully use you to grab Forbidden Citadel with Karl there to reinforce. I thought for a second that was Wolfick's settlement, and I was like, wait, what the heck? Where did all those Tzeentch demons come from? Just Tzeentch shenanigans as usual. And you can still reach Cockatrice Hunting Grounds. Beautiful. So, you go here. We will attack and auto-resolve. A little bit of damage to us, free gold sigil sword, and hopefully a better item out of it. And then you can grab Forbidden Citadel and lose the item in case you immediately get killed by the Demon Prince as soon as we meet him. Karl, you're going to proceed to Cockatrice Hunting Grounds. Don't see the Demon Prince around here as yet. And we still got to make sure that we completely knock out Mr. Skarbrand. I'm also thinking we should probably get all of the heroes in Karl's army, the anti-Slaaneshi items. They're definitely going to need them. But anyway, we'll deal with it as we approach Slaanesh. And Dolph Hertvigens. And, oh, what is this? You were besieging Silver Pinnacle. Did you construct? You did. Oh, Pyrrhic Victory. Oh, that's kind of iffy. What's the best way to do this? You know what? Break the siege. Kill the army that's in march stance and move back to the siege. I just think it's probably a better use of our time. And hopefully we can still reach the place in one turn. Close victory against this. Well, I'm going to quick save because obviously we can't trust it with the war wagons. This is going to hurt us. We're going to have to spend the turn healing up, but it is what it is. Better than wasting our time. And hey, the war wagons barely, but did survive. We will play Sigmar, I guess. Alrighty, and then you cannot reach this as expected, so we'll pop you into a camp, we'll heal to full, and then we'll head back to the Silver Pinnacle next turn. Hey, that was worth it. That was definitely worth it, because we got a brass cleaver out of it. Beautiful. And, these guys are at like 99% of their HP, but still managed to lose a war wagon. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Units like that have always functioned like that, and it's I don't know, it's a bizarre choice in my opinion, but anyway. You, Gavin, are going to proceed down to Craventail Town. Gonna have to deal with them, yes, passing through Orcish territory, but it is what it is. I think we're gonna have to use you to hunt down this guy before moving back up northward. Again, it's kind of necessary, and we'll also see where Sirtha Ek goes. We are ignoring him for now, but, well... We also don't want this guy raiding these territories, so it is what it is as well. And, yeah, we'll need to grab those territories anyway. Auto-resolve you. I really want to see this army fight some more, so we'll hopefully get there soon. Take the money, because we didn't take any damage. Enemy killed in battle, free Trickster's Shard, and then I guess back up north we go. Alright, gonna take a bit to move to North Scourge Hold. Alright, next up, ignoring Governor Hertzella, Waldemar Biber, you have nearly arrived to add your guns to the Albion Bowl, which is clearly needed, especially that Marcus is now hurt and will probably want to heal up. So, I don't know if these guys are going to be in range of Ernst Puttkamer here. Guess we're going to have to find out. Alright, so Black Ark will move away, let me guess, just slightly out of range of us. Yep, just slightly out of range of us. Alright, so you're gonna stay right here. It'll move and we'll hopefully hunt it down. In fact, well, we can't really predict which direction it'll move, so... It is what it is. We'll leave it there. We'll send Mr. Recruiter Olden out here to grab this mysterious island. And then, I don't know, oh, you know what, I should have had the other guy do it, but anyway, let's go for shiny boots and fresh recruits, and then what I would like you to do is to start moving this way. In case the Black Ark moves this way, you can help hunt it down, thus we can move Waldemar this way slightly, so where are you gonna go, Black Ark? We'll find out. Alright, now Ernst, I wanted to head to Conquata, but since Marcus has to back off to heal... Yeah, looks like this guy can travel pretty darn far here. How far can you travel? I think that none of them can get quite far enough to get to our... to this army here, but well, we'll find out. If Ernst dies, then Ernst dies. I'm not, I don't really care that much. Do you need anything? I don't believe you do, because Pistol Corps covers everything that you have. I mean, I guess we still need to move towards the red line, so that doesn't change anything, and nobody double dips in this particular army, I imagine. I guess we could get a point in Mighty Forge in case we bother putting anything that isn't very pistol-y in this army. Let's go for Mighty Forge. Oh, you know what? Maybe we... Well, yeah, let's start with Mighty Forge. I was just thinking we could pop a couple of War Wagon mortars in here just to re-up the ammunition of these units and to give them siege attacker in case this army ever ends up needing it. But we'll see. Theodric von Blitten, I was going to have you move down to Xerxil, but there's a full stack here at Kergrom, so I think you're probably better off besieging it. And you're still waiting for an Empire Captain, ain't you? Alrighty, well, you can besiege this. I'm willing to bet the enemy will sally out, considering the relatively nice nature of their force. And you are rank 49 with 3 points remaining. Okay, we'll deal with those afterwards. We can't build Empire Captains here yet, but we hopefully will be able to shortly. In fact, wait, there isn't a place here nearby where we can't... Oh, I just remembered something. Karakern is now ready. Yes, alright, so Karakern, at last, to be traded for... Where are we here? Kern... Kurtzhofen, Moment of Truth, yes, alright, we're gonna take these guys' money, and at last we will have this territory as ours, and they'll have Hern. Beautiful. Alright, now I'm gonna do the military alliance, and... didn't go up to 98, alrighty. It is what it is, though. You can, I guess, build the paved roads. We probably will want the public order here as well, so we will want to... Do we want to get rid of the Shrine of Sigmar? Wait a moment. If we keep the Shrine of Sigmar, we have 2 spaces remaining. We put 1 coaching in one, and then we put... And it doesn't really matter. Probably an Empire Captain building. Yeah, alright, fine. Keep it as it is. Yeah, alright. We'll wait until it levels up and then build it. Anyway. That was kind of a distraction from whatever it was we were doing. Elspeth, you have been hunting rats. So let's go for Mr. Krelk, the Infectious. I'm gonna grab this territory. Really want to knock Tretch out before moving towards the Crooked Moon there. You're not going to back off? Okay, that's kind of... Oh, you're a rebel. I didn't know that, or didn't realize that, rather. Let's quick save in case this sad little force kills off our war wagons. It's a distinct possibility, knowing the auto-resolve. No, it looks like we're okay, though it did very heavily damage Mr. Nicholas Becker there. And for whatever reason, our knights. Yeah, you just never know with auto-resolve, man. Alrighty, you. To Skullreach Cavern, what do we have here? Nothing worth our time, but again, worth a quick save in case the war wagons get killed. Okay. And... Okay, now they're still alive. Good. Hopefully we'll get to fight Trudge with like a couple full stacks. And when he's back against the wall, as it were. And don't bother building anything, we're just going to trade it to the dwarfs, and hopefully they can hold on to it all rather than losing it to the Crooked Moon. Though they'll be getting more territory as we continue trading it. Anyway, that was Elspeth. After Elspeth, we have Emil von Corden, who has taken Campagretta, and I wanted him to move to Alamanto, though the main issue here is that this guy's besieging and we don't know what's there. We could have you sit here. Huh. I guess we could also have you go down there later if needed. You know what? Maybe we'll have you go for Xerxil, or even... ignore Xerxil and move down towards the other undead. And the other option would be to go northward and around and then start from this side as well. We do have to knock these guys out. Alright, fine. Let's go through Rivola then. No, what is it? I do wish you could use allies, allied fords like this, but oh well. And, you're not gonna cross the river? Come on, man. Not that it'll matter if you get attacked while in march stance, as your army is too strong for that sort of thing to matter that much. Leopold von Bildhofen, you are one of the guys that's supposed to be replaced, aren't you? Or at the very least, swapped out, though you were level 18, which ain't too bad. Alright, well, either way, that doesn't change the fact that you're continuing to move up north. And let's say you go this way, and then Colt Holdorf, I believe, is the appropriate guy. Yeah, we have defensive on you. To buff up those halberds as much as you can go this way and start fighting this Lanashi. Alright, Gustav Schneider, you're up next. And you're mostly used to grab territories like this, so I guess we'll send you back southward towards the Obelisk of Judgment. There's nobody else down here to deal with that. Except Troop Train, but I don't think Troop Train can because... yeah. Won't take too much damage on those guys. Anyway, you through the Oasis of Blood, you, Gustel, are going to move southward here. Get ready to cross the what? Oh. Yeah, maybe don't suffer attrition. Oh, there's a Skull Island there. Huh. Might actually want to pick that up if we can set sail after this. Why not? Alright, you've stopped moving, and also, okay, Volkmar, you're out of position in the sense that out of the order, but really, this is going to be a close victory. We just won this. Okay, well, whatever. I want you to auto-resolve this and hope nobody dies. Bit of damage. And then I want you to sack the place, because we don't really care about its position, because it's going to be traded to the Tomb Kings anyway. For a student, then I would like you to attack to attack this guy, and then move back to occupy it immediately after. Hopefully you still have enough range to immediately occupy Qatar, but we'll see. Like so. Auto-resolve again. Please don't be at 1 HP, guys. That was still around, though pretty badly beat up at this point. And then... oh, don't tell me you're just out of range. No, you're good. Alright, so move to Qatar. Creaking Blade, and we look to be okay. Lovely. And we got the units that are going to join this army here shortly, and then swap some of the flagellants out to join the other armies. Drakenhof Conclave destroyed, and it feels so appropriate for it to have been done by Mr. Volkmar. Alrighty, back to doing things in order now. Balthasar. Alright, so you had a pretty darn epic fight last episode. Oh, I guess we could use Ralph Brandt to take Stormhenge instead of using Gelt. Alright, Mr. Brandt... you could probably maybe pick up an Altdorf retinue. I do like the sort of relatively balanced nature of this army. Frankly, the Wardens of the West are better off being Wissenberg's welcomers here, but anyway. Let's get you a new Altdorf retinue. The Hammer of the Witches is going to be replaced. Yeah, that's fine. Actually, while we're doing that, I believe the Stubborn Bull's army warrants another Stubborn Bull. Where are we here? You. Like so. Alrighty, and I'd love to get more questing knights, but it's, you know, proving rather difficult, so just deal with it as you can for now, and we're gonna recruit before this turn ends as well, because we want to make use of some stuff. Actually, what do we have here? Open the gates. Ooh. Somewhere can be upgraded to tier 5. Alright, we'll have to take a look at that. But anyway, Ralph Brandt, I would like you to hit Stormhenge, and I'm going to assume that you can auto-resolve it without Gelt's help. I don't like the fact that there's a King Arahotep over there. Close victory, eh? Okay, you know what we can do then? You can hit this. We can have you level up the... I mean, I guess we were going to replace you, but whatever. Anybody rank 7 here? No. Alright, so just go for Strength of Hardship. What trait do you have? Yeah, okay, not the trait that we want. You, Gelt, cannot reach One-Eyed Fort, meaning I would like... actually, you'd be able to reach One-Eyed Fort afterwards. Oh, we gotta get to Sharpthorn Forest to knock out the Bloody Hands. Oh, they have another territory here. Wow, really? And they're not even at war with the frickin' Tomb Kings? They don't even dislike each other that much. Is this 2 territories remaining to them? Okay, so then we'll have to march Gelt out there. Alright, fair enough. Alright, then what we'll do is have Gelt reinforce its Stormhenge briefly, but then march on southward. Like so. Like so. Auto-resolve. I assume nobody will die now. Still an unnecessary amount of damage, but it is what it is. Occupy. Alright, Tomb Raider, Forest Cloak, we don't really care about. That's a second student. Do you guys have students in this army? You do not. Alright, let's get you those students then. We still need the bonus research rate after all. What about you? You do have a student. What about you? You do not. Lose the, I'm going to say, camp follower. And grab the student. There we go. Alrighty, and what's our research rate at, by the way? 74 rather. Which ain't bad. I think we still can't do techs at 1 turn, and it's just that the research point surplus is making them all look like 1 turn. But we can play around that. Effectively swapping guaranteed 1 turns and non-guaranteed 1 turns, like Purge of the Foul, Purge of the Fell, these things, okay, one of these things, etc., to essentially, hopefully, complete 1 tech per turn for every turn now, going towards the end of the campaign. If that made any sense, I hope it did. Anyway, Gelt is good where he's positioned. Next up we have Recruiter Beckberg, who may or may not be recruiting. Just wait a minute, same with you, Arch Recruiter. Troop Train. You are supposed to deliver stuff, but these guys aren't ready until they recruit. Gustav Hall, you're mostly here to take Glopit, hopefully without the need for another army to intervene. Move out here. Let's see if these guys are building anything there. Might actually have to make a fight of this because it looks like there's a decent garrison. That's a lot of squigs and all that, and I'm willing to bet those AI will actually attempt to fight it. But anyway, knocking these guys out of this position will be great for us because we don't have to then spend all that time protecting Karazakrak, or at least I hope not. The AI can certainly snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. It's pretty adept at it. Anyway, Baldric Stroam, I don't believe you fought rats. At least not in numbers, and it's time to do so. Now, you have, I think you have all the red line, don't you? Or at least all the stuff in the red line that we wanted. And it looks like you do. You don't need Mighty Forge, you just have guns, and alright. So, then I guess we can make you a little bit stronger. I would like you to get Lightning Strike as well, and we may or may not have enough points to do it, eventually. I guess we'll get 1 point and destroy the heart, but the other stuff to make this guy a stronger fighter I don't really care about. The Huntsman General will still never be a good enough fighter for us to care about. And we'll probably get more mileage out of Lightning Strike. So we'll start moving through this tree then. Let's get your reassuring presence in case you encounter attrition territory. And Dirk Becker, you have a Crown of Command. Yeah, that's fine. Let's get you. You have lead the state troops, meaning Retinue Bard is probably fairly useful to you. Oh, not as useful as Deadly Onslaught, however, I lied. Let's do that. We'll start moving through Retinue Bard and Mark of Hish. You, Engineer, you have all the important stuff. And I'm gonna say, let's get your heart to hit into Deadly Onslaught, though again, not super useful to you. And just in case, we should probably still grab... Well, we should also probably grab Always Ready. Get you to do a little bit more damage. Anyway, I would like you now to attack Custom Scuttle. We should be facing off against, what, 2 or 3 stacks? Heroic victory, casualties low. But, for all the fact that it says casualties low, it might be lying in our favor. I mean, look at that garrison stack. That's a pretty solid one. You gotta admit, a couple Doom Wheels, Hellpits, basically all the Skaven elite. It's a tier 5 settlement after all. And they have droves of Skaven slaves to attack us with afterwards, so I think we're definitely fighting it. Go. Alrighty, here we go, big old pile of rats, and interestingly, it's looking like we've got a choke point battle. We'll see if that is to our advantage or to the enemies. Now, the enemy do have reinforcements coming in with artillery pieces, which this army can't really do too much about, especially on a choke point situation. We'll try to send our single Empire captain with his Pegasus to try to annoy at least one of those artillery pieces, but I think they have, I want to say 2. Let's see, yeah, they have 2 artillery pieces, so we'll see. We'll see whether that significantly disadvantages us. Anyway, we do have a very nice hill over on one side of the map, and while it means not really blocking off the choke point, we can block it off with bullets rather than with bodies. Well, bodies and the corpses of the enemy eventually, but anyway. Looks like the enemy are on the field now, certainly itching for a big blobby spell, but just going to have to gun them down in the old-fashioned way. Ooh, and I see lots of frame drops and stuff as the enemy gets slowed down. Way too many enemies on the map now. And what I'm hoping is that our units will still fire, because if this is enough rats to cause the no fire bug, then we're completely screwed, because this army can't really fight in melee. At least not well enough to deal with all this. Anyway, here come the first of the enemies, and it looks like we've got a... the Doom Wheel outruns at least a few of the shots, but it looks like it gets slowed down enough by the range fire, and eventually brought down. And there we go, the Hochland long rifles, the Ergig Jaeger Corps, the Gunderman Surefires, all firing away into the blob of enemies. Of course, these units have a relatively low reload time, 4.9, actually super low reload time, maybe not even relevant. Alrighty, enemy lord is down, enemy artillery are firing away at us, and lots of rats heading towards us through this choke point. Gunfire gonna come down, hopefully not focusing down just single entities. We've got a lot of rats to break apart. And it's looking quite well so far, though this is just droves of Skaven slaves and the occasional other faster moving unit like the plague monks in there, which we do have to kill down to a single rat. And there's plenty more where that came from. The good part about this is that our units are still firing away, so the bug has not been activated, and though our Empire Captain is annoying that Warp Lightning cannon, it isn't enough to stop said Warp Lightning from firing. So we're just going to have to keep taking hits. There's the Warp Lightning, and it looks like one of our units of Wolfick has been severely damaged by that Plague Claw. But all good. Enemies are getting closer and closer, but they still have a fair bit of distance to cover, and we can always throw our Wolfkin into the fray should they need to do so. Funnily enough, I do think the choke point is still working in our favor, despite the fact that the enemy has artillery and we do not, because, well, all the overkill damage that would otherwise be happening is just hitting lots and lots of different rats. And of course the rats are getting in each other's way, and we only have to fire effectively in a single direction. Well, maybe not quite a single direction. There are more enemies that have moved through the other choke point, which we obviously did not block off, but it's all good. Anyway, a few elites have attempted to move on in, like the Deathglow Bombardiers, and I believe I saw a Warp Fire Thrower and a Poison Wind there. But they got obliterated by concentrated fire. Looks like a Hellpit Abomination is moving towards us as well. And we can see the glow in the distance of the activation of the Funnel of Flame on our units. And by the looks of it, there is absolutely no way the enemy can breach our lines, or reach our lines. At least through the choke point. Down goes that Hellpit Abomination. The enemy could only wish they had this many Jezzails on their team. Actually, that would be probably a little bit too obnoxious if we had that many Jezzails. Well, we do have a bunch of, well, I mean, only half of our army is made up of gun units. We got 4 Wolfkin, we got 4 Huntsmen as well. And speaking of the Huntsmen, they have turned and are now firing upon the enemy, specifically targeting the Plague Monk Sensor Bearers. We've got to break apart those unbreakable units before the rest of the enemy army reaches us. It's a little bit weird what the AI is doing here. I guess they wanted to get behind our army. Now they're starting to move on in, but they had to sacrifice like 70-80% of their army to do that, and I just don't think that's actually particularly effective here. More rats are moving on in, but our Wolfkin, with the exception of the one that got repeatedly targeted by the enemy artillery, are still pretty okay and are ready to meet the enemy should they move towards us. And even the damaged unit is relatively okay, as it lost about 60% of its HP, but definitely not that much in the way of their units. Still 106 out of 160. And it looks like that's it. The enemy army gives up. The last of the enemies that are over on the right flank get gunned down, and the enemy units that move behind our army and get torn to shreds by the huntsmen. And good job to them, and it looks like we carry the day in terms of the choke point. The Empire captain, I guess due to the lack of splash damage on him, managed to get 25 kills and only did 1,700 damage in 18 minutes, which is admittedly pretty pathetic. All he had to do was kill effectively defenseless crew, and the fact that he basically couldn't do that and did effectively no damage is kind of embarrassing, but he's here to buff everybody and, of course, to spawn those units of officer squad, and on the occasion that it's needed, fight enemy single entities, which just wasn't needed here. Alrighty, there we go. I guess the auto-resolve was, right on the money that time, as it predicted a heroic victory, and a heroic victory was what we've got. Still a decent fight, watching those rats get gunned down as they move towards the choke point. We have no recourse, unfortunately, with this army in terms of dealing with enemy artillery, however, at least when there aren't, well, when we're stuck in a choke point like this. If it was a field battle, we could have gotten the huntsmen moving around and hitting the enemy in the flanks or get them around the enemy army, but obviously not here. All good though, we survived just fine, and basically only one Wolfkin unit was hurt from the enemy artillery at the end of the day, and that unit is more or less fully healed anyway. Lovely, praise Sigmar. Alrighty, and then that should be more than enough to take this place next turn, because this army doesn't have siege attacker. But what can you do? What can you do? Does Funnel of Flame... It does imbue flaming attacks, eh? Meaning a Fire Wizard would also be fairly decent in terms of this particular army, since we have that fire imbuement. Although, admittedly, at the same time, this army has been doing fine without a wizard. Funnily enough, we used an Amber Wizard, which would fit in with the Wolfkin, admittedly. And then we could use that Amber Wizard to provide siege attacker, which is a nice thing. Although, maybe, I feel like maybe all mages should provide siege attacker. I feel like they, you know, magical firepower and all that. Probably knock a gate down if they were so inclined. Anyway, Baldric, stay there. Stefan von Kessel, you can reach just barely this place, Kronfjall. And, hey, we finally reached rank 20 on all of the witch hunters. Now we just have to find a fight, and we have nearly reached the edge of... Oh, heroic victory, you say? I guess, well, I guess we did find a fight. Is this a minor settlement battle? Oh, it's a capital. I didn't even realize that. Alrighty, well, I guess you're fighting then. Oh, well, that's just fine. It's just fine because we can now get all the retinues up and running. So, retinue, there we go. That's one. You should also have tools of judgment. We could get your regular maintenance just for the reload. Enemy... You know what? We could significantly debuff enemy characters since we have a bunch of these guys. Maybe better than silver bullets, but at least let's at least get extra powder because it's buff to everybody near them. Let's get elusive, extra powder, and then unfortunately we don't have enough points to go deep into this particular portion of the tree, but nonetheless. Enemy melee attack reduction or enemy missile resistance. I'm gonna say melee attack reduction because their missile resistance is kind of irrelevant to this particular army. Or do we just go for damage on you personally? It's still not going to be all that much, especially with us having gone into a strict obedience and Templar rather than shadowy servant. Maybe we don't bother going through this portion of the tree and then just go all the way through to Slippery, since these guys are going to be more melee fighty. Although I don't dislike the enemy vigor loss reduction +5. You know what, let's go for a range favors in the vigor loss reduction, especially since we can stack it multiple times. A retinue for you, tools of judgment, and a silver bullets, elusive extra powder, enemy of the undead. Range favors, same thing with all of you. That'll be 4 retinues. Silver bullets, tools of judgment, extra powder, enemy of the undead, and range favors. And the same thing for the last guy. Retinue. Oh, I did retinue on you. Yeah, okay, ooh, for a second I thought I had forgotten. Would have been unfortunate considering we were leveling these guys up, and then range favors for you as well. Lovely. And then Von Kessel, you have 6 points on you. You have stand your ground and strength of hardship. You definitely want taste for battle. And whatever buffs Luminarchs, which I'm not sure what it is. Artillery Master. Yeah, fair enough. It is magical artillery and all of that. Sharpshooter does nothing for this particular army. I mean, you could still go for Mighty Forge, which is ward save and reload for the war wagon, or for the war wagons for the Luminarchs, which I think, yeah, they're pretty fragile, so let's do that. Then let's get Sigmar's ward. Should have gone for bolstered leadership, but I don't want to redo the points, so we'll do it after. A light wizard. Technically our only light wizard, I think, so we should probably get another one in some other army. You will want to get maxed out, well, frankly, most of the stuff in the basic portion of the lore is really nice, so we'll do that. And then I don't really like Banishment very much as a spell. It's too costly for how meh a Vortex it is. Although I'll double check it just in case it's a little bit better in SFO. We could get Barona's Time Warp though. And we have a significant amount of melee troops after all. Next up, you guys will go Hammer of Sigmar, and then I'm going to say with this army, maybe we'll go for the bolstered leadership. Enemy spell resistance, physical resistance for our army, enemy charge bonus reductions, just basically lots of debuffs for the enemy. Probably worth our time. Physical resistance, enemy charge bonus. We'll do physical resistance for us, and... oh, we need to be rank 15. Alright, fair enough. Enemy spell resistance. Oh, you know what? You still want to get replenished troops, though. And frankly, we probably should have gone for Retinue Physician, but I'm dumb. At least you have it. You, Divine Power, Heart of the Griffin, and then... did I say Deny the Heretic or Beacon of Courage? Does it matter, since we're getting them all? Yes, but also we're getting Shield of Faith and Soulfire first anyway, so it doesn't matter. I lied. Believe you're good, you will... oh, also this guy's going to be swapped out of this army, I guess. Although maybe we just keep him. I spent a while building another Sigmarite Disciple to hopefully make this army a little bit better at auto-resolving, but frankly I'm wary of it not really mattering. As the auto-resolve doesn't seem to like this army at all, but anyway, go. Alrighty, here we go. Nice little block of Witch Hunter retinue summoned on the field, and they look pretty darn good. Sort of a mix of Imperial Infantry and Witch Hunter and gear on them. And I do like their quite visible arrows as well, or bolts, I should say. Anyway, they're going to start the battle off, and we'll be going after this unit of Marauder Hunters with Javelins, who they did outrange, but ooh, the Marauder Hunters do get at least one volley off, dishing about 15% damage to them. So they are fairly fragile, and we do have to be careful about that. But they also do quite solid damage. 103 missile strength on them for 20 units is very, very decent. Obviously, we have similar sort of damage on our gunnery units and other such things in other armies, but that's with a significant amount of buffs, and frankly, we could probably get these guys hitting a fair bit harder with additional buffs as well. And they got nearly 200, they have pretty darn solid range. Excuse me, I have the hiccups. Trying to not hiccup super loudly into the mic. Anyway, and just going to essentially form up, firing away a teensy bit. Oh, I forgot that the Witch Hunters also had pistols. Oh, we could put a few of them in the pistol army. Yeah, but then we'd have to forego getting the retinue, which wouldn't feel so great. No, never mind. I guess we could just not skill the retinue thing. But then that would bother me. Anyway, looks like the two Luminarchs have brought down the enemy barricade, or whatever that platform was, and are now just about to bring down the enemy tower as well. Looks like a few troll units have attempted to move towards us, but get quickly torn to shreds by the Witch Hunters and their retinues. Lovely. Otherwise, probably not going to get too much in the way of usefulness out of the Luminarchs in this particular battle. They're generally pretty awful in minor settlements, being direct fire and all that. But who knows, they might get a few volleys off. Anyway, let's speed this up a teensy bit as we reform. It looks like some doggos will charge towards us. Gotta be careful about the Witch Hunter retinues taking damage. Their melee attack and defense stats are fairly low. Though their armor at 110 is actually pretty solid. They almost remind me of Skaven weapons crews because of the sort of nature of them generally having very high armor, but still being relatively fragile, like the warp fire throwers, for example. Anyway, tried to target something like the mammoth with the Luminarch, but it looks like whatever tiny hill we have here interferes with the ability of the Luminarch to fire, and it just decided to charge towards the mammoth instead. A bit of an annoyance, but what can you do? And the other Luminarch is a little bit more further back and is going to get at least one shot off. There we go, right into that mammoth, doing about, what, 10-15% of its HP and damage? Honestly, not enough. It's a big mammoth and all that, but damage-wise, eh. Oh well, not a big deal. We have other units to deal with stuff, and it'll keep firing away at the mammoth as well. Alright, we get some Marauder champions facing off against some great swords, as well as the Sigmarite disciples, which are helping them out, i.e. supporting them. The mammoth is just about done for. There we go. Brought down more so by the Witch Hunter retinue than the Luminarchs, despite the fact that you'd think that this is exactly what the Luminarchs are for. But all good. At least they do provide that defense buffing aura that they have, or ward save aura, as long as you don't use too much in the way of magic. So we're just going to have to keep our magic reserves up and keep the aura up thusly as well. Anyway, it looks like some trolls and some doggos have joined the Marauder champions, but the enemy is thus far having a fairly difficult time breaking through our lines, taking a little bit of damage. At least on the units of warrior priests. They tend to be surprisingly fragile, so we gotta be a little bit more careful with them. And I see some Black Ark Corsairs. I guess the enemy, Rakarth had an outpost here. And, ooh, somebody just lost his head. The Black Ark Corsairs, and I saw some Bleak Swords running around. But they're probably not going to be as effective as those Marauder champions anyway, who may look bigger than the Great Swords do, but the Great Swords do outstats them a fairly considerable amount, I'd wager. Let's see. Well, actually, the armor, okay, they massively out-armor. Oh, okay, now we have Van Horstman's down, but the melee attack and defense is better on them. Anyway, second mammoth goes down under fire from both Luminarchs and the 4 Witch Hunter retinues and all 4 Witch Hunters as well. Actually, out of curiosity, wait, let me just see here. We got 8,000 damage, 13,000 damage, we got 15,000 damage, and we've got 10,000 damage on the Witch Hunter retinues versus 5,000 and 3,000 on the Luminarchs. But again, they're having a little bit of a tough time firing away. Gonna get at least one volley off on the Bleak Swords, I hope. There we go. Dishing out a little bit of damage, 2 hits. I mean, this isn't what they're for, but it's better than nothing. Anyway, definitely a swap in terms of the units that are fighting here, as the Marauder champions and dogs will be replaced by Fimir and Bleak Swords. At least the Great Swords and the Sigmarite disciples in the melee have plenty of variety in the melee foes that they face off against. And they continue to hold fairly nicely. Stefan von Kessel, in the meantime, has been waiting for the enemy to commit more forces in order to move his Knights of Everlasting Light and he himself in as well. Oh, and he's got Sword on board. Well, I guess that makes sense. I mean, it's a little bit annoying that the Knights of Everlasting Light are lances, so I'm a little bit surprised, actually, that the generic Grandmaster trait is Sword and Board, considering I think all Empire Knights are lances, not Sword and Board, aren't they? I don't remember if the Drakwald Riders are lances, but regular Empire Knights are lances. Oh, Stubborn Bulls are great swords. Knights of the Everlasting Light are lances. Not that it matters over much, and frankly, the Sword and Board is the better thing to have than the lance on a hero anyway. Well, maybe not a hero on a demi-grip, but certainly a hero on a horse. Though I do still think that the Grandmaster should absolutely 100% have a demi-grip mount as an option. Much more so, perhaps, than the Empire captains. Though I do really like the fact that the Empire captains have that option as well, because it makes them considerably more useful as well. Anyway, the fight continues, though I'd wager not for too much longer. Von Kessel is facing off against the enemy Lord, or the enemy Skinwolf, down there somewhere, and we'll defeat him in short order, I'd wager. Not really much more to do for the Luminarchs here once again. Just gotta work our way through whatever enemies remain with our great swords and Sigmarite disciples, which we do so, and with that, the enemy army is done for. Alright, nice little, well, not really debut for Von Kessel's army, since it has fought several times already, but at least the debut of its probably final iteration with all of those witch hunter retinues, which I'm really enjoying. Alright, there we go. Nice little fight. Looks like we never really needed to send in the cav, but it was nice to see the 4 witch hunter retinues go to work, and of course the swordsman and Sigmarite disciples combo. I'm still pretty mad about Luminarchs, generally speaking. I don't like the unit, as it, I don't know, feels inferior for what it does. We could probably just make use of a cannon or a Hellblaster and get more mileage out of them and more reliability than we would out of a Luminarch. And for the cost, 581 when garrisoned, let's just see, out of curiosity, here, let's take a look at who has a tank. Alright, so Elspeth. 702. So for 100 more upkeep, you can get a steam tank, which is so much better than what a Luminarch offers. And if you use the Hellblaster variant, you can still snipe things just as well. How about they're there for flavor? Fun enough. I feel like they need to hit even harder for them to be remotely worth it, even if that would make them a little bit obnoxious if they can actually land a hit on the enemy, but I guess that's still kind of the case. Anyway, Baldric, alright, you're besieging. Well, from Blaze, you are delivering. Could have renamed you to Troop Train, but I think you're fine. Keep going down south to Johann Toppenheimer, and, maybe we'll attack this little rebel army, because I don't like them still besieging our dwarfen allies, who we gave so much territory to, and hopefully they can actually hold on to it. I wonder if we could risk going out to sea and then landing and grabbing Svenom like that. I don't know whether it's possible, but it would be nice if it was. Guess we're about to find out. Go here, and then see if you can land, and the heck? Power of Rage. I guess he moved through an island and I didn't notice. Guess we could have gone for that one, but it'll be worth it if you can land and immediately attack. Come on.
Into battle.
You can. Beautiful. Alright, and not even a lot of damage to the Children of Ulrich, which is nice. You can switch to Host Vestag. Doesn't really matter over much. And we will once again be trading these guys. These guys should be so happy. Look at this massive coastline. Nearly every settlement here a port. And that's a huge amount of income. If it weren't a red territory for us, I would have kept it for ourselves. But we can't live in the snow. The Imperials are just too... I don't know. I feel like it should be at least a yellow territory. I'm pretty sure it snows in the Empire, so... I mean, I get that it's a frozen territory, but red uninhabited climate equivalent to the Chaos Wastes? I feel like that might be a little bit much. But anyway, not that it matters. Anyway, let's see who else we've got. And not like we don't have plenty of territory to be getting on with. Humphrey Bruckert. You were hunting rats, and that has not changed, so switch to Trench's stance, go after Fabrigear, kill him, auto-resolve him in his little Skaven slave pile, and then move back this way. Until either Deathmaster Snitch or possibly the armies of Scryer show themselves. I kind of like that these guys have, I mean, this feels appropriate for an Eshin stack, doesn't it? Mostly Skaven slaves, but then a few Death Runners and Gutter Runners and whatnot interspersed amongst them. Kind of like it. Alrighty, there we go, Humphrey, and then go into march stance and start moving back. This is kind of close to Scryer. You know what? No, go into encamp and then move like this. I don't want this army getting ambushed for obvious reasons. This army wasn't really designed for it. And would suffer greatly if it did. Get ambushed, I mean. Anyway, where are you in the list? Recruiter? No. Wait, what do you have? Nah, you're fine. Land Admiral Tsintla, you are going to go into, I guess, regular stance. Go after Scalpos, who's just a pile of Skaven slaves. Ah, this guy's building tons of spellbreakers. Interesting. I wonder if these guys are allied. Let's find out. They're not even friends. Well, it is what it is. Can you go into? You cannot go into. Alright, go here, attack this. Heroic victory. Alright, looks like the game wants us to fight this. I see no issues here, but it is 2 stacks, so I guess we'll fight them. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Big old pile of rats and big old pile of undead versus a big old pile of machinery. And, well, I know which army I'm betting on, but, well, we'll see what the rats can do. Anyway, we're going to give the enemy a chance to move on in with their reinforcements, and rather than simply rushing the rats immediately, we'll wait until the enemy reinforcements are on the field to do so. Obviously, we could probably destroy this enemy army by rushing them with our steam tanks and our land ships. Especially since about half of our army with the war wagons and the gyrocopters aren't firing away like this, but it's fine. I do enjoy watching these guys fight at range as well as in melee. And especially the land ships and not charging is a significant reduction in their damage. Also the fact that they're not firing their broadsides with their, well, they don't have cannonry broadsides, but they do have all of those repeater rifles. I like that the captain has a hat, which is very appropriate. Empire's generally pretty good about everybody having hats, and I like it. Anyway, the enemy army is, well, if not quite in bad shape as yet, has at least suffered some damage. We're a minute and 32 seconds into the fight, and we got 20 more seconds until the reinforcements arrive, at which point I'd wager the enemy will start moving towards us. Now, the tanks and the land ships have this weird little behavior that they have, wherein even if you tell them effectively to sit still, they will periodically sort of move forward slightly as they adjust their firing angle. I have not moved any of the tanks or the land ships a single time since the battle started, but they're kind of out of position and not in quite the same kind of battle line that they had when they formed up. And oh! Huh, I didn't even realize that the gyrocopters use the white color on their... Huh. Almost feel like it should be the other way around. Huh. I assume that Reikland red is their primary color and white is either secondary or tertiary. But maybe it's not the other way around? Interesting. Well, either way, not super important. I guess the red does highlight more stuff. Anyway, all that aside, the reinforcements have at last arrived on the field, and finally the enemy will move towards us. I'm just going to speed this up a teensy bit as they do, and there we go. Finally, the rats are ready to play, and our war wagons are going to meet them as they run on in. Of course, if the enemy wants to try to surround our army, we'll be able to fire in multiple directions with either the war wagons or the land ships. So I'm not so sure that's going to be super effective for them. The enemy attempts to drop not a Searing Doom, a Warp Lightning upon some of our war wagons, which admittedly could probably hurt them a fair bit. We saw in a previous fight, whether it was against some Chaos faction, I don't know if it was Bellicor or not, but somebody hit a couple of Searing Dooms upon one of our units of war wagons and took like a third of their HP with that. And I imagine if a single war wagon got hit by a warp lightning, it probably would be destroyed. But anyway, finally, as we've waited long enough, it's time to actually move. Now the steam tanks, the rats have obviously no chance of dealing with this. Now these two steam tanks will move towards the enemy, and then the other two will, well, also move towards the enemy, but just in separate little groups. Same thing is happening with the land ships, just charging on through the enemy. And of course, most of them being Skaven slaves and all that in this first army, they've no chance at even slowing the steamships down. Land ships. I'll get still a fair bit of time until the reinforcements arrive on the battlefield as well, at least the undead reinforcements, but maybe the rats have been sufficiently damaged already, and we can start moving towards them. Our war wagons have backed off a little bit as they got rushed by rats, and this battle, unlike the previous time Tintla fought, I decided to allow the... Oh, that's interesting. Why is this... Oh, okay, so that's the Lord is faster than the steam tank. The regular steam tanks. What was I saying? Oh, I kept the skirmish mode on the war wagon. Seems to be the better option. Anyway, Purple Sun of Zoraeus comes down in representation of the Amethyst College. And our steam tanks continue moving through the enemy. Huh. I went quiet there for a second. The battle effects, maybe we were too far away from the steam tanks. I'm not sure, but anyway. Charging through those big old pile of dead who can do a little to nothing about any of this. Our land ships have arrived, and the caravan of machines will start just moving through the entire enemy battle line. The same thing we've seen with those demi-griff knights as well. Probably could be a very nasty combination. We could combine machinery and demi-griff knights. We're not going to bother simply because it's already... I mean, them by themselves is already overpowered enough. But all good. Anyway, caravan has moved through the entire enemy battle line, racking up the kills, and they're going to turn, and they're just going to do it all over again. All the while, we continue to get support from the war wagons of various types. Gotta love watching the enemy being completely unable to stop those steam tanks. Alrighty, and with that, the bounce power shifts to about 90% in our favor. The bombs have been dropped. There we go. Nice little bombing run from our dwarfen friends. The enemy lord disappears amongst the bombs, and having gotten hit by a couple of spirit leeches, though some Morngul haunters attempting to chase the tanks, which have grouped up together now, while the land ships continue wading through all the rest of the enemies. That said, most of the enemies are at this point pretty much done for and are melting away. At least the undead have. The rats are mostly running, and there's no real reason to bother trying to catch them, as they ran away. And they will be destroyed. The battle probably made at least a little bit easier by the fact that the undead army was in march stance, but on the bright side, that means both of these armies will be destroyed after this battle is over. Ooh, wait, huh. What is this supposed to be? This is kind of interesting. So we have candles and... Is this just supposed to be for light? I feel like it would be more effective to just put lanterns on the war wagon itself. But the candles on the horse are quite a curious affectation. I have no idea what this is supposed to be honest. And Empire definitely has lantern technology. Interesting. Well, either way, well, that's just an excuse to take closer looks at units more often. Anyway, indecisive victory and no problem. Alright, there we go. An unsurprising result, as neither rats nor droves of the undead are going to do too much. Crushed under tank well, not treads so much as wheels, but yeah, crushed under tank wheels. Lovely. And I do find it interesting that the mortar war wagons are actually keeping pace with the tanks and the land ships in terms of their kills. I guess it does work as a fairly decent support unit for them, as they force the enemy to kind of blob up and allow the mortars to get more hits in. Lovely work. We're going to, I guess, leadership, in case we need to auto-resolve. And, okay, for a second I thought we'd be suffering attrition here, but I was just mousing over Athelloran. Alrighty, so then I guess we're going for Kafir Kamaz next, and looping back around to Domitburg. If that's the case, then that's the case. Go here and then pop in a channeling stance, because you're one of the few armies that doesn't have full mana right now. Alright, that was Admiral Tsinkla. Who's up next? Oh wait, did I just go past him? Oh, I did not. Alright, there you are. Theodor Gasser, you're fine. Valmir von Rakov, you're fine. Bruno... Who are you again? Oh, right, the ogres. Alright, going to Trench's stance, kill off both of these armies and start heading towards these guys' territory. Might as well punish them for their little attacks there. Like so, 1, and heal, and then I guess we'll have to heal both. It's not much of an army, admittedly. But it served to defend well enough. Alright, lovely. And then you can go here, and then... I mean, I guess we could get you a wizard to help out, but, yeah, just in case channel. How many territories do these guys have? Just the 3, and they're all in hills, which are green territories for us. Not that I think we need more territory, but, well, if we wanted it, we could take it. Bruno, that was you. Let's see who's next. We also have the recruitment to do before we end the turn. Kurt Helborg, you will have arrived at... Oh, right, you need to also finish off this little army here. Resolve. This better not damage us heavily. We'll take the healing, and then I assume that we can land here. We can indeed. Lovely. Oh, right, no siege attacker in this army either. Good lord. I really need to get that going. Potion of speed. No thank you. Definitely going to turn that into something else. Not that it isn't better than it once was, since it now offers a... stat, as in a passive stat buff, rather than just a lackluster active ability. Griswold Solman, who are you? Oh, you were going to take Grungdirat Duraz. Alright, go take that. I think we have another one of these guys here in Philip Huss. Alright, so you occupy this, and I guess the question is, do we still need you here? You can host Festag, we can, yeah, build those up. We're trading them, but, you know, I fear that the AI has a bad, not so much reputation, but a bad habit, let's say, of not actually occupying territories properly. Might not actually need you anymore, because we have Philip Cuss around here, which can take Dragonbone, assuming this guy doesn't kill you, but if he does, well, I don't really care, so go here, we'll see what Sirthak does, if he wants to take advantage of this. Alright, and then you we can, I guess, delete. Do you have a decent trait, incidentally? No, you do not. Alright, well, reset you nonetheless, because you can be used as a recruiter if we need an emergency recruiter. I mean, maybe emergency wasn't quite the right word, but you know what I mean. Let's see. We're out of order now, but I think Gavin was next anyway. Speaking of Gavin, it looks like these guys, the Cathians here, failed, and thus we need to start moving this way again. Oh. You won't suffer attrition here, will you? No, it looks like we're okay here. So go out here and then start moving towards Granite Massive and then back around. See, I knew I shouldn't have trusted them. AI just can't be trusted. But it's part of the Total War experience. Anyway, troop train. Alright, you guys need to do that recruitment stuff. We need to figure out what we actually want to do here with you. Also, yeah, make use of that conscription. So first of all... what do we have here? No, this is partly... Okay, wait. We have 2 troop trains. Okay, we need to separate extra units and not extra units. You guys, go here. You guys are supposed to make up a Sigmarite caravan. Oh, we'll also need to either mill or get a new priest up and running. I guess we could get either the Guardian one or the Grand Hammer of Sigmar one. You know what? I don't dislike you. Zealous Priest. I'll get you on field. We'll pop you into this army. And we'll need you to get some Sigmarite, the regular ones. Next up, let's see, wait a moment. Knights of the White Wolf are going into the all-knightly order army. Ooh, what do we have in terms of... We have 1 Wardens of the West, we have 1 Wissenberg's Welcomers. Which are great. We probably don't need the Wissenberg's Welcomers here. I'm not even sure that we're going to use mortar war wagons for the caravan, but we'll see. I think this is fine for now. You're more or less okay, minus the need of additional Bretonnian troops, but that's fine. I guess then we will go for more Sigmarite units. Just double check. Oh wait, I think I wanted a couple of land ships here, but oh. You know what? Yes, I do like that idea. Can you build land ships here, or do we need to global recruitment them? Now we can build them directly. Alright, so you can do land ships. We can then go through, grab a couple more armies of Sigmar, let's say 4, and then go flagellants, and then just go, I don't know, more piles of flagellants. There we go. That looks good to me. At least for now. We will probably need other things in here, but we'll do this, then we'll pop off the conscription. And that was you, Boris Barach. Like so. Lovely. That gives you the completed Knights of the White Wolf, which will go into Philip Ivan the Crazy's army. Of course, he needs to be replaced by an appropriate lord for these guys. But otherwise, we are missing 1 Knights of More. And I think 1 other order, aren't we? We have Everlasting Light, Drakewald Riders, Knights of More, Knights of the White Wolf. It's conspicuous that we're at 18 out of 20. Oh, you're missing Stubborn Bulls. Which I guess once we do the reset, you'll get 2 more of. And then that'll be every single order. No Demigryph Knights, admittedly, but that's fine. Just a gigantic pile of Knights, all with devastating flanker. And I think for this army, maybe we won't get them a mage. Because then we'd have to limit one of the orders, and I kind of don't like that. I'll think about it.
Yes.
But anyway, this army is nearly done. Oh, and I guess it's nearly done to the point that we can actually start moving it out, because it, the next troops are all just Elector Count state troops, so you just need to be a different lord than you are. Tactician. Oh, actually. Boris Brach, you have the esteemed trait. We could actually have you command that army in theory. Funnily enough, the army would probably be stronger if we replaced a couple of the knights with a couple of Empire captains to lead them, because it's a fairly significant buff to them, but I'll think about it. We could take out the Drakewald Riders, for example, because they don't add too much interesting stuff to the army. Anyway, you guys, well, I guess you'll wait for the land ships to be recruited. They're going to be part of the caravan, and the rest of you, I think, are fine enough for now. You will actually want... Let's say 2. You need a fire mage, and you need a couple more mortars. So let's do... It's like not enough. Let's do 1 mortar. Let's do 1 more spear. Or just 2 spears. Let's go 2 spears and 2 mortars. I'm just looking at stuff that will eventually be replaced by the regiments of the Elector state troops. And then this army, the Mermidia army, will be complete. These guys to be replaced by Eldred's Guard, these guys to be replaced by Sutzen's guns, and it'll be good. Alrighty, these guys are now good. Now, where were we in all this? I think that was one of these guys. Who's Coldthorpe's? You're waiting for recruitment. Ernst Puttkamer, you're waiting to see whether these guys come around. Let's pop you into Trench's stance, just in case. Oh, you're a recruiter too, aren't you? You have defense? No, actually, you're fine. You're defensive, which buffs up the free companies. Yeah, I don't dislike that. Crusader Wolfick Ergiger, you are waiting for a mage, but otherwise you're actually free to move. Minus the fact that you'll immediately suffer attrition when you do. You won't immediately be able to cross. But it is what it is. You're just gonna have to suffer a turn of attrition when you get there next turn. Channel. You will eventually get a wizard as well. Alright, that's Crusade. I'll rename the other guys Crusaders once they're once they start to move, to alleviate my own confusion, and hopefully some of your guys' confusion, I don't know. You're fine. Feuerbach, you are waiting for something.
Yes, my lord.
Ghost Hunter. Let's get you in here. It's a fire damage unit technically. I was gonna build a flame cannon from the dwarfs, but frankly, if we just put a flame banner on the Hailstorm batteries, that kind of works well enough as well. And I don't dislike having more flame heroes. I guess Soulfire as well out of the warrior priest, but I fear that we will no longer have the space for that. Although we shall see. Anyway, helmet, just stay there for now. Marius Lightdorf, you are moving to the next Orky settlement. At Fort Neck Snapper, I assume you can't reach it. And wait, actually, I should have probably checked. No, you cannot reach it. All right, fine. You can channel though, because you do have a wizard. And I do believe we're rapidly approaching the end of the turn. Ben Essing. Ooh, Wolfick. Would we even be able to bring down that mammoth with nothing but grenades? I genuinely don't know. I am unsure whether we can. And the giant piles of manticores. We have no real single target capabilities here. And I also don't remember, can grenades even fire at aerial units? I feel like they can't. I suppose if the army is not having a good time against them, we could always retreat. Well, I guess we could do that. Probably should knock this place out either way, that hasn't changed. Alrighty, go after Mr. Wolfick then. I assume he's not going to back off. He is not. Alright, close victory, casualties medium, but the danger is the massive pile of single entities and low entity units, Maws of Savagery, etc., wherein we have all Grenadiers. Could probably have the Nangao Grenadiers sacrifice themselves. Might be a necessity here. Go. Alrighty, here we go. Mortar shells shrieking overhead and grenades are dropping in amongst the enemy. Let's see if we can pull this off, because I'm genuinely not super sure that we can. Unlike flamethrowers, which are great against whatever enemies they encounter, whether they be single entities or whether they be blobs of infantry, the grenades are terrible at targeting single entities. So, we've got a lot to deal with, including Wolfick himself. What we do have, however, is a Bright Wizard with a Tormentor Sword, which can stop Wolfick in his place. Unfortunately, unlike the, say, more elusive or evasive units of Manticores, this is a big old target that's stuck in place due to that Tormentor Sword, and a bunch of our grenades are going to keep chucking or a bunch of our Grenadiers, I should say. Should keep chucking those grenades at Wolfick. There we go, disappearing in a sea of flame. That mammoth is probably very angry and very confused at all of this. And it looks like Wolfick will drop down to 10% of his HP, 5% of his HP, and then 0 at last as Big Boy goes down. That said, that doesn't mean the battle is completely going our way. We have several of our Outriders and Bordermen which have been caught by the enemy, and yes, they could outrun them, but they're going to sit here and they're going to wait. We need somebody to distract these units, otherwise they'll just keep running at us. And obviously the mortars that are all the way back here can't run, so we're going to have to deal with these guys. Fortunately, the mortars have been keeping back the enemy infantry, missile and melee alike. And we're making decent use of our Master Engineer, who is keeping one unit of armored skin wolves back. Okay, specifically the Maws of Savagery back, while the grenades drop down among them. And there we go. The Maws of Savagery are out, though they did severe damage to the Master Engineer, and he's now terrified, though I feel like it's a little bit late to get terrified, as the Maws of Savagery are nearly out. Our Bright Wizard has landed as well, and is serving a similar purpose, trying to distract the Feral Manticore, but also applying Flammable to it, as the Bright Wizard has that on its attacks. And dish out a little bit more damage with those flames. Alright, the enemy infantry, by and large, or at least the first blob of infantry, have been, by and large, destroyed. Bordermen are trying to run away from those Iceborn Marauders, and will probably take a little bit of damage themselves as well. Frankly, this battle is making me think that it might actually warrant us to put a second Bright Wizard in this army, and just for a repeated use of Cascading Fire Cloak. The really nice thing about Cascading Fire Cloak in fire-based armies like this one is the fact that it offers a massive amount of additional fire resistance. And thus, when a unit like ours, like one of those grenade units, is forced into melee, and we pop that Cascading Fire Cloak, increase their fire resistance by a massive amount, and thereby allow them to survive a lot of volleys from our own units. Anyway, it looks like Wolfick's first army has been destroyed. The second one is about to reach us, though we have, there we go, Mercurial Shot going through them, and here come the grenades and the mortars. Unlike Wolfick's army, which was primarily made up of single entities and monsters, the second army is all infantry, and this is what our army adepts at clearing out, or is adept at clearing out. And if the enemy should reach us, we could move our Outriders with grenade launchers away at any time. I think I should probably put a couple of Outriders with grenade launchers in at least one other army. I'll try to think about which one. There we go. Gotta love all of those explosions amongst the infantry, and it looks like the marauders that are left have realized that they have no longer any hope of dishing out sufficient damage to us, and will give up in giving the battle to ours. Oh, look at that! Look at that Meccano horse run so quickly. What's your speed at? 91, pretty good. Once again, those Phoenix Pinions, those extinguished Phoenix Pinions, working quite well for us. Yeah, and we definitely want another engineer in this army as well, partly to apply suppression to the enemy and partly to dish out additional damage and act as a single entity to block off other single entities as needed. Anyway, it looks like we carried the day. Even if it took some effort, we can see the damage dealt to our units, but that's the nice aspect of this rock, paper, scissorsing that we do. Alrighty, there we go. Yeah, fairly close fight, at least in terms of the enemies potentially wiping out or getting close to wiping out a couple of our units, but, well, we of necessity or out of necessity had to engage some of those single entities and monstrous infantry and all. It's the interesting aspect of doing this whole rock, paper, scissors thing with certain armies. Yes, this army will obliterate giant piles of infantry with ease, but it very much struggles against single entities and such, which makes it works for your victory, which is interesting. Anyway, praise Sigmar. Alrighty, once this guy has his steam tank, it should be at least a little bit stronger in that regard. And campaign movement range against Wolfick, yeah, that's fine. We will also go for Monolith of Stakar and to resolve it as well. I'm going to quick save it just in case the war wagons die. I don't think they will, but why risk it? And considering that Wolfick has very few settlements remaining, this might actually be the last time that we see him. Although we won't find out this particular episode, because I think this is where I'm going to call it. We're pretty much at the end of the turn as well, so I'll double check if we're besieging anything of interest, and otherwise maybe, and just, oh. No, wait, this isn't particularly interesting. This one, I guess we could waste the turn. I was just thinking of ending the turn between the episodes and doing the admin and proceeding next time, but we'll see. Anyway, calling it here. Next time, I'm more fighting, looking to wipe out both Wolfick and the Barrow Legion here, and then move towards the giant Skaven Empires. Still a lot of work to do in the South Territories, though, but at least we'll be linking up with the Dwarfs and looking to go after the Crooked Moon and down here shortly, and moving on towards Chaos as these greenskins and these undead are pretty much done for as well. Plus our other armies are moving towards Kislev to try to bail them out before they're destroyed by Slaneshi and by rats, who are moving deeper and deeper into their territories. Ow, you better not, don't you dare knock this place out. This is where our outpost is. But anyway, I'll find out if they do next time, so stay tuned for more. And don't forget to leave those likes in the comments below, as they will determine how long this campaign continues to run for. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.